So in order to be able to shine on, you have to know that you have light within you first, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we do here every Sunday, is we try to let ourselves remember who we are. We try to remember what the source is, and we try to remember what we are, and we are so full of light, but we forget. And so today, using that song, let's remember right now that we are already full of light. We don't have to try to get the light. Matter of fact, we need to just wash off the mud to let that light shine through. So start right here remembering, right now, I am the light. It's already within me, and I'm going to let it shine on. You know, I love coming here every Sunday with a few off, you know, because I like sharing the philosophy, and I like reminding myself of philosophy. Because when I'm working on my messages, I really have to embody it and ask myself, what do I know? What do I live? What do I embody? Where am I at with all this? So I get just as much out of it as you do. We're just coming together every week and remembering again and remembering again and remembering again and remembering again until finally we go, I got it. I am the light. The one source is already here. I got it. That's what we do. I wish I could give you like all the messages every single Sunday, but I just break it down piece and part. You just keep coming back and pretty soon you hear it all, right? That's what we do. We gather together so we can hear it all. Today, we're going to start with a very common phrase that you hear if you take classes and you've heard here on Sunday. Change your thinking, change your life. Change your thinking, change your life. It's not just a pretty little thing to say, change your thinking, change your life. It can be that. It can be very rote. It can be very meaningless. But today we're going to make it real deep. Change your thinking, change your life. Sometimes it's really easy. You can all probably point out times that you were like, yep, I got this. I changed my thinking and my life changed. And I'm sure you can all realize times where you went, wow, that area is really challenging. We have both. Some easy, some not so easy. But the thing to remember to begin with is change is always possible. So whether you think something is easy to change or challenging to change, or whether your experience has been easy or challenging, it is always possible. We live in this very visible, material world of effects. Caught an effect. What I mean by effect is everything we can see, everything we can touch, everything we can hear, the visible world. So just in this place right here, we see people, we see furniture, we see carpet, we see technology, we see and hear music. We go out in the world, we see cars, we see buildings, you get the idea, right? That's the effect. It seems to be the biggest part of what we live in. We're human, we're an effect, we see all this stuff. It is by no means the biggest part of this thing called life. And yet we pretend like it is. We act like it is. We get caught in thinking that it is. Because this is how we live as human beings. But it is by no means the biggest part. And so I'm going to bring your attention to that middle of that window for just a moment, the teaching symbol that you see there. If you haven't taken the class, this might be new information for you. If you have taken the class, you'll know that we start with the one source. Spirit is the biggest part at the top. It moves through what we call a spiritual law, just the way God works. And at the bottom, where it's very, very narrow, is the world of effects. That's what I'm talking about right now. We live in the world of effects. Effect, effect, effect. We live in the world of effects. So when I say by no means is it the bigger part, if you look at that and see that very narrow part is what we're dealing with every single day. And do we get caught in it? Oh yeah, we get caught in it. Somehow I know I'm caught in it when, if I hear somebody say, I've been diagnosed with an incurable disease. That's a medical opinion only. That's a fact. When they say it's cold and flu season, do you get a cold? That's a fact. When the economists tell you that the economy sucks, do you experience that too? When the songwriters say, love stinks, do you believe it?
No.
When the politics try to make you go, this is right and this is wrong, taking sides, do you get caught in it?
Yes.
A lot of you may say no in the relationship or no to the financial, but when it comes to the politics, it's really hard. I bring that up the last couple of weeks because I know there's a lot of people that are just really stuck in effect of all that, and sometimes me too, to be perfectly honest. So that's we can see where we're stuck in effect anytime, here's the hint, anytime we blame somebody or something else for why our life isn't working. Okay, y'all go, because we get caught in it sometimes. It's somebody else's fault that my life isn't working. It's the government's fault. It's the economy's fault. You get the idea. Just check it out. It's not to make yourself wrong. You know I don't like you to make yourself wrong. But if you have something alive in you that is blaming someone or something else, that's a pretty sure sign of being caught in the effect. And something to work on. That's all. Just something to work on, something to play with. Here's the really good news. Here's the really, really good news. We can learn to think independently of any effect. And matter of fact, that's what this philosophy is asking us to do. To think independently of the effects that we see in our life. The effects did not come first. We're thinking. And sometimes it's individual thinking and sometimes it's collective thinking. It doesn't really matter. When we know that we're caught in it, we've got to take ourselves to the part that is bigger so that we can learn to think independently. If I go up to the source and I go up to the biggest thing, do I think that that source is fearful? No. Do I think that source is angry? No. I know there's a lot of religions who teach an angry God. How silly. How silly that there's one source that would be angry all the time? Really? That's just funny. When I go up to that source, is there anything missing, anything wrong, anything lacking when I think of that bigger thing, which is beyond our wildest imaginations? We can't even fathom what infinity means, really. We get a glimpse of it, but that bigness couldn't have the problems that we experience here as humans. So we are asked, as we go along our journey here, to think independently of the effects, and day after day after day after day to remember the bigger source, the bigger truth, the bigger picture that the divine source already is. And where is it? Right where I am. It's right here. So learning to think independently, that's the best news, I think. Last week, our topic was love wins. And I did talk about how, in our country right now, we're experiencing a lot of hatred, and we're experiencing a lot of anger, and we're experiencing a lot of side-taking, and we're experiencing a whole lot of fear. That just seems to be the effect that we're caught in. Does that mean that God is ordaining that we should have these problems? No. What it tells me is that we humans are trying to wake up. And when we try to wake up, the people who have to let go of their old way of thinking dig their heels in. We don't want to be the ones who dig our heels in. We want to say love wins. The only way that I can say that love wins is when I don't look at the world of effects. Because the world of effects looks messy. It looks like the shabby rooms in Joanne's poem. The shabby, dark rooms in the world of effect. When I look at Facebook, I admit sometimes I get hooked. Scrolling through it, it's like, so much negative, and so much anger, and so much hatred, especially political verbiage. I got to tell myself, these are just effects. What is the greater truth? Teaching myself that if I want love on the planet, I got to be loving. It's not just a Pollyanna little idea. It's how do I lift myself? How do I awaken myself enough to get beyond world of effects that we seem to be experiencing? We got to believe it's possible. We got to begin to think independently. We got to pray and know something greater. Know something greater. Not just say we think we believe it, but to really know it. That's where our work is. How many of you have seen the movie or read the book, The Secret? Put your hands up if you've read The Secret. If you haven't, and if you're relatively new here, I highly recommend it. It talks about the law of attraction. And yet, for me, it fell short. It fell short